If you're a musician, it's really easy to electronically register your music copyrights at the United States Copyright Office, and the benefits can be huge. In this video, I'm going to talk about two of the different types of music copyright registrations. I'm going to talk about the benefits of actually registering your copyrights, and I'm going to sit down at a keyboard and show you step by step how to electronically register your own copyrights in music. Hi, my name is Carr Ferrell. I'm a Silicon Valley intellectual property attorney. I'm also a former bluegrass banjo musician who's played more than his fair share of festivals and fairs for little more than food and free parking. So with that stage introduction, let's jump in to electronic copyright registration. Now, it's important to understand that a copyright is created the moment that you record your work of authorship in a tangible medium. This means writing down the notes or a tab on a piece of paper, or writing down the lyrics on a piece of paper, or recording the music in some way, in computer memory, a CD, or a DVD. Now, there are three requirements for copyrightability. The first is that it must be original. It must be your work. The second is that it must be at least somewhat creative. Now, the threshold for copyrightability creativity is actually pretty low, but there must be some creative component to the copyrighted work. And then finally, the work must be recorded in some tangible medium. Now, there are two different types of copyright registrations we're going to talk about today for music. One is in the music itself, the notes, the tab, and the second is in the sound recording, that is the performance. These are two separate copyrights, and they'll require two separate copyright registrations. However, it's possible to include both registrations in a single filing, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. Copyrights are maintained by the Library of Congress, and registrations can be made at the United States Copyright Office. Now, if copyrights are created at the time of recording in a tangible medium, what's the point of registration? Well, registration provides several important benefits. Registration tells the public that you are the owner and author of the work. Also, in order to enforce your copyright must be registered. Before you can file a lawsuit for copyright infringement, you must have registered your copyright with the United States Copyright Office. The third reason for having a copyright registration is that if you're going to license your work, the licensee is probably going to want to have a registration proving that you are the true owner of the work. And the fourth and fifth reasons, and probably the most important reasons for registering your copyright, is that if you register your copyright prior to infringement of your work, you are entitled to collect statutory damages, potentially up to $150,000 per work, for willful infringement of your work. And also, in some cases, for willful infringement, you may be entitled to court costs and attorney's fees for bringing an action of copyright infringement against an infringer. And for these reasons, if someone is infringing your copyright, all you need to do is send them the certificate of your copyright registration. And my experience has been that in almost all cases, infringement will stop almost immediately. The risks are just too high and the costs are too high to infringe someone else's copyright. Copyright disputes are usually very short-lived. Okay, so how do you electronically register your musical work in the U.S. Copyright Office? There'll be three things that we need to collect before we get started. The first is a text copy of your work. The lyrics to your song, the notes, the text, whatever textual material you would like to register. This can be in a variety of formats. I prefer to store and upload my documents in PDF. Likewise, you'll need to have a sound recording file, either an MP3 or an MP4 of the performance of your music. Now, the third thing that you're going to need for registration will be a credit card to pay for the registration fee. And it's also important to note that the registration of the copyright is valid for 70 years plus the life of the author. for a work not made for hire. Okay, with that cram course in copyright law, let's jump over to the keyboard and register the copyrights. I'm going to start the registration process going to google.com and using the browser to type in, and I'm going to type in Copyright Office. That will take me to the copyright registration portal. And from here, I'm going to continue to scroll down. This gives me some information. Log into the Electronic Copyright Office. I'm going to click that. And I get a couple of warning signs, pop-ups here. I'm going to type in my name and password. Now, I want to stop here just for a second, because if you don't have a username and password, user ID and password, you can get one by clicking on click here to register. Now, the user ID is actually protected, so this should be something that you keep secret, as well as the password. The password is pretty onerous to create. It's, as I recall, 16 characters and there's quite a few rules associated with it, but otherwise the login registration is really easy to create. It takes just a second. You'll have a user ID and a password, and then you can enter that to begin your copyright registration. So once I've logged in, I'll be directed to the Electronic Copyright Office ECO registration page, where I'll have quite a few different choices for registration. Now, I'm going to choose standard application under register of work, but there's some other registration options as well. I can go to other registration options, and for music, this will let me register up to 10 unpublished works in a single registration, or I can register up to 20 published works by choosing register certain groups of published works. But for purposes of today's demonstration, I'm going to just select standard application. And the standard application will take me to a start registration page. And from here, I can enter type of work, and my work is going to be sound recording. It's going to be a musical work. And it's useful to read through this page to understand what a musical work is and what some of the different kinds of works are with respect to registering music. And I'll need to click a box here that says I've read this page. But the page actually is pretty useful to read. And then I can click continue. And then the second page, I'll need to enter a title for my work. And this will be a new work, so I'll click new. And the title type will be a drop-down menu which will show title of work being registered. And I'm just going to make up a title here. It's going to be called Barstool Breakdown, which is sort of a fusion of legal work plus bluegrass banjo. And I can review the page. Now, just to be clear, I actually don't have work to register at this moment, so this is a fictitious work. I'll explain more about this as I get to the end, because I'll need to certify that I actually do have a work in order to register a work. But for purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to pretend that I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the tab, and I also performed this work on my banjo to be uploaded for copyright protection. I'll press continue. And then it's going to ask me for the publication date. It's not been published yet. Surprise, surprise. And the year of completion is 2023. I actually haven't completed it yet, but possibly. The pre-registration number is something that you register with the Copyright Office for in the event that you're concerned about someone copying you as soon as you publish your work. So you're interested in having your work protected before it actually gets published via registration. And of course, I don't think a pre-registration number has ever really been required for bluegrass banjo music, so I'm going to leave that one blank and press continue. Now for authors, I am the author, so I'm going to press add me. And that's going to take me to the Add Me page, where I'll enter my citizenship, my name and my citizenship, domicile where I live in the United States, I'm a U.S. citizen, and I can add year of birth and year of death. but I'll leave both of those blank. And click Save. And then under Author Created, I'm going to enter both sound recording, because this is a performance application registration. I'm playing the song on my banjo, as well as other, which will include the lyrics of the song and the title, and the text of the song, the music of the song. So in this case, it will be tablature. So it's lyrics and music. So I'm getting two registrations, the sound recording and the lyrics and music. Okay, I press continue, and I get to go to the author page. I can enter more authors here if I want. I'm the only author on this page, so I'll click continue. And this is claimants. These are who claims rights in the copyright on this work. And in this case, it's just me, so I'm going to add me, and my information comes up. And there's no other claimants on this particular work, so I'll save this and continue. Now I go to limitation of claims, and there are no limitations of claims. I did all the work here. So rights and permissions, permission information. Now the rights and permissions, this is who needs to be contacted in the event someone wants to license the work. So I've entered my name. Likewise with correspondent, who does the Copyright Office correspond with respect to this registration? That's me, so I'm entering my name here as well as my name for sending me the mailing certificate. So I'm in each of those, I'm entering my name and my address. Special handling option has to do with expediting the registration of this application. Now, special handling occurs when there's litigation that's pending, or a prospective litigation, that we're expecting litigation. Also, if I'm having custom troubles with imports, perhaps for copies of CDs that I've had pressed, and I'm trying to get those entered into the U.S. and there's been a problem with the copyright ownership, I can expedite the handling of the copyright for that purpose. Also, in the event that I'm trying to license out my music to a publisher, or contract with some publisher or some licensee, and they're requiring me to have a registered copyright in place. For those reasons, and potentially some others, I can certify that I am the true copyright claimant. I can pay an extra fee. I can have my registration happen in a matter of a couple of weeks as opposed to 6 months or more with respect to the normal processing. Okay, I click continue again, and now I go to certification, and I certify that I am the author, copyright claimant, or owner of exclusive rights on the work, and I type in my name, and then I'm taken to a page where I get a chance to review my submission. So it's got the title, Barstool Breakdown. I've got publication completed this year. I'm the author, and it's got information about the registration, the sound recording, and the music itself, permissions, correspondent address, mailing certificate, and then my certification. Now, it's important to note here that I've certified that everything in this application is correct under penalty of perjury. Now, I'm not able to actually do that because there is no copyrightable work that I'll be uploading. So for this demonstration, I'll be able to go up to the point where I upload the work, but I'm not actually going to upload the work for registration. While we're in the shopping cart page, we can see that the cost of this filing, the combined sound recording and music registration, is $65. So this is a single registration. I get protection from both registrations from this, the sound recording and the music being the lyrics and the notes. So the next step is I go to my cart, and do you wish to proceed? And yes, I'm going to proceed, and I'll click OK, and I can enter my credit card number or a bank transfer, but typically I pay registrations with a credit card. I can enter my credit card number and the bank information. Okay, that's as far as I can go at this point. The next page, after entering the credit card information, hitting enter, the transaction takes place. Then I go back to the last page at the Copyright Office that I was at, and it will give me the opportunity to upload my two files. The two files I'll have will be the PDF file, which will be the lyrics and tablature of my work, and the second file I'll upload will be the MP3 file. Once those two files are uploaded, I'll receive a registration number back from the Copyright Office. Okay, that's all there is to registering a music copyright. Not so expensive, and it takes about the same amount of time as swapping a set of banjo strings in the rain, and a lot less hassle. Now, you may have some other questions about copyrights and copyright registration. I have another video immediately following this one that goes into copyrights in more detail. If you have any questions about this video or the electronic copyright registration process, leave a comment below and I'll try to get to it and provide an answer if I can. I'll see you over on the next video.